Hi, friends. I'm Emily Lay, and you're listening to the Simplified podcast. If you're looking for a quiet place where you can filter out the noise and the hustle, this is it. Every week, I invite you to slow down and join me to explore practical ways to organize and automate the complicated parts of life so you can focus on what truly matters most. Well, guys, if you are shopping for Black Friday, Cyber Monday weekend, we invite you over to emilylay.com to check out all the beautiful 2023 Simplified planners, as well as so many fun ideas for gifts. We have mugs and journals and pens and keychains and so much more. So go and check it out. Lots of things are on sale, and you don't want to miss this. Do you ever wonder why you were put on this earth? I know, I'm coming in hot. But when we get to big days like Thanksgiving, I can't help it. I tend to stop for a second to evaluate my life. I ask big questions like, where am I? Who am I? Well, I'm a mom, I'm a partner, a daughter, a friend. I get to lead a group of talented women at Simplified and shepherd the wonderful community at the Simplified Sisterhood. And on days like Thanksgiving, when there's a small pause in our schedules to think about all the blessings we've been given, I can't help but think about how grateful I am to have so many wonderful people in my life, no matter which hat I'm wearing at the moment. And I also think about why I'm grateful for them. I am grateful to be loved by these people and for the opportunity to love them and serve them in return. The longer I'm here on this earth, the more I realize why I was put here. I'm here to serve other women. I'm here to show them all the lessons I've learned through all the mistakes I've made, the little ones and the not so little ones. I've had so many teachers who have showed me their scars, and I'm grateful for their courage. My hope is that I can do the same for other women so their paths can be smoother than mine. And so maybe they can make the path smoother for the women coming behind them. Here's another reason I think I'm here. So that I can give women the tools they can use to create lives that are filled with love and purpose. I'm here to help them put aside all the noise and the clutter so they can focus on what truly matters to them, so they can build the lives they want for themselves and their families. I'm here to lift up other women because, as Melinda Gates says, when we lift up a woman, we lift up humanity. That is something my next guest, Holly Christine Hayes, has learned too. Holly Christine Hayes is founder and CEO of Sanctuary Project, a nonprofit social enterprise employing and empowering women who have survived lives of trafficking, violence, and addiction in Austin, Texas. If you've never seen Sanctuary Project's jewelry, you guys, trust me, it is gorgeous. It's delicate and destined to be your new favorite brand. As a survivor herself, Holly knows the path to recovery can be long and rocky, and her mission is to bring healing and restoration to the women she works with, and to help women everywhere become the beautiful, inspiring individuals they were each created to be. She is amazing. I wanted to talk to Holly today because she is someone who's using her story to help other women. Because when there's part of us that we'd rather not show the world, it can feel so much easier to hide and to pretend it doesn't exist. But there's so much power in showing our scars to someone else. There's so much power in saying, you are not alone. You're not the only person who has gone through this hard thing or made this hard mistake. There's a different path you can take, and I'll show you how. That's essentially what Holly is doing with Sanctuary Project. This is a great conversation, you guys. I know this time of year, you're probably like me and thinking about ways you can give back to people in your community or to causes you believe in. No matter if you want to make a big impact or a small one, I encourage you to think about giving your time and resources in a way that honors other women. Because when a village of women comes together, I can't think of a more mighty force for good in the world. I can't wait to share Holly's wisdom with you, so let's get to it. Here is my conversation with Sanctuary Project CEO, Holly Christine Hayes. Holly, hi. It's so nice to meet you. I'm so excited to have you on the podcast.
I feel the same way. It's so nice to meet you too. I'm such a fan of your work, and this is just a joy to be with you.
Oh my gosh. Well, right back at you. Also, everyone, my dog is in my house and it's probably going to bark. It is what it is.
Thank you for joining us.
Oh, here. Now he's here in the room. This is my work from home life. No, you're not going to bark in this room. Goodness gracious. I feel like I have so many questions for you, and I am just absolutely amazed and enamored with what you're doing with Sanctuary Project. Well, before we get too far into things, I would love it if you could just introduce yourself to anyone who doesn't know all about you and the amazing work that you do.
Absolutely. So my name is Holly Christine Hayes, and I'm founder and CEO of Sanctuary Project. We are a social enterprise jewelry brand that employs women coming out of trafficking, violence, and addiction.
Wow.
And what that looks like is providing jobs for women in all areas of our business. So we're not just employing women to make jewelry. We're employing survivors in office management and social media and production management, and in those jobs that oftentimes get overlooked for survivors. I love our team. I love our little crew and what we get to do and build together. Sanctuary Project has employed and empowered 40 women over the last 4 years in business.
Wow.
Yeah, it's such a gift to see it going out into the world. We got picked up by Target a little over a year ago, and so that's been a joy too, to just see it going out all over the world to women, and hopefully they're feeling as beautiful as the women we get to employ.
Oh my goodness. That is amazing. That is amazing. And to be in Target, that's such a big deal.
It's such a dream come true. I mean, I
know,
think
right?
if you're an American girl,
Yeah.
if you're an American woman,
right.
You're like,
You
no
know.
greater dream, right? It's like,
you absolutely know.
Yeah.
Wow. But what a blessing it is to women to be, creating such beautiful pieces to help them feel beautiful, but also at the same time to be really empowering women who have gone through a lot and giving them an opportunity to have, employment while they're healing, from all of those things. So thank you for the work that you do. I think it's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, it is such a special community. One of the things I love is that all day long we're sitting together and making beautiful things.
Yeah.
And to have come out of what we've come out of, and then to get to sit together and process that and cry and laugh and make beautiful things all day long, it's just such a gift.
That's amazing. And also to have that community. I have to imagine that for them to just have that community is such a gift going through, the season that they're in as well.
It really is. And, I think that women throughout history have craved that. If you look at some of the foundations of society, it was like women in crafting circles, weaving baskets and gathering together and creating together in community with one another. I think we're made for it. We're such bonders, and we're such people. And I think that as women, there's really no better way to heal than in community and gathered together.
I love to ask entrepreneurs, especially women, about their journey to founding their company and really defining their brand and what they're all about. And I think it's fascinating to hear the stories that shaped, what they are and why they do the work that they do. So can you tell us all about your story to founding Sanctuary Project?
Yeah, I think it starts for me when I came out of trafficking and violence and addiction myself about 21 years ago, almost 22 years ago. And I ended up in a job shining shoes. And it was this little shoe shine stand that employed everyone who was in recovery in that city. I was in San Francisco at the time, and I learned a trade, right? And I had this job that I could go to that was safe, where I was around other people that were in recovery, and where all day long these dirty, messy shoes would come in. And my job was to make them beautiful.
Wow.
And what happened to me subconsciously in that time was that my identity shifted from I'm a mess, I'm worthless, I'm a failure, I'm all the things you could think, right? Coming out of that life, to I'm someone who takes broken things and makes them beautiful. I'm someone who takes messy things and makes them clean. I'm someone who takes dull things and makes them shine.
Yeah.
And it completely shifted how I saw myself doing this trade all day long, right?
Yeah.
And then in the meantime, I was in this really safe community where I was allowed to cry at work, where I was allowed to have a tough day and just say like, I can't do it today. I can't shine shoes today. And I had these employers that were in recovery many years and understood that. And so it was this really grace-filled, loving environment where I was learning a trade, learning to make beautiful things, and really feeling safe for the first time having a job. They also didn't care that I had a criminal record, right? It was okay that I'd been arrested. They all had too. And so they gave me a chance, and they really took a chance on me when no one else would. And over the years, I've mentored other women coming out of trafficking, violence, and addiction, and volunteered with other nonprofits. And I've loved serving and mentoring in that way. But I found that so many of the women I was mentoring had that same need to find a really safe place to transition in terms of employment, and to find a community where they were allowed to cry at work, where they could have a bad day, and really to find a place where their identity could be transformed from I'm worthless, I'm broken, to I'm
Wow.
someone who makes beautiful things. Simultaneously, I've kind of always had this frustration with the social enterprise world that, that products didn't always look like the kinds of things that I would buy at Nordstrom or at Target. It was like,
Yeah.
it was beaded, or it was whatever someone could make in a crafty way. And I
Yeah.
really had a desire for more elevated designs in my own
Yeah.
life. And so I would buy these things and then not end up wearing them. And I
Mm.
really dreamed of creating a line that wasn't just employing and empowering survivors, but also was something that women would want to wear, and
Yeah.
that women would feel really beautiful in, and that is an elevated design. There's no reason that what we're making has to look crafty just
Yeah.
because we're coming out of trafficking. That can be beautiful. It
Yeah.
can match what we're buying at Nordstrom or what we're buying already at Target. And so when I married my husband, we moved from Paris, France back to America. And I didn't have a job for the first time. And I started looking for an anti-trafficking organization to volunteer with and couldn't find one.
Wow.
And it was at that point that I felt God really speak to me and say, this is that time to launch that dream and that thing that you've
Wow.
always envisioned. And so I started it in my kitchen with one other survivor who I met at the jail, and
Oh my God.
and it's just grown from there. But it takes a lot of courage. If you're someone who's launched a business, it takes a lot of courage to do that. And I'm a big fan of just launching messy and figuring it out as you go. So that's been my
Preach.
journey for sure.
Preach.
Yeah.
I get it. That is absolutely amazing. And I love a brand that has real heart behind it and isn't just about necessarily the stuff they make. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that it's so important to value, beautiful things and make beautiful things. But I love what you said about the women who wear them. You want them to feel beautiful.
Yeah. One of the reasons I chose jewelry was that, every woman can feel beautiful in a pair of earrings,
So
in
true.
a necklace, right? Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter if you just had a baby and you're 20 pounds heavier than you want to be.
Right.
Or you feel like you're aging and you just don't have that like spark that you used to
Yeah.
have emotionally. And, maybe you're
Mhm.
not loving being in your body, but jewelry can always make you feel more beautiful.
Yeah.
And I just love that about it. It's sizeless. It's, it's,
Yep.
it just looks good on everyone, and it makes every woman feel more beautiful. And so
That-
I love hearing from women that they love wearing our pieces, that they feel like they're part of our story.
I love that. I love that so much. And I also love that the pieces are so timeless. To me, they're heirloom pieces that you would pass down with a story, that kind of
I
thing.
love that. I
Yeah.
love that idea.
The Simplified podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. Have you ever wished that life came with a user manual? I sure have, especially when I first had children. And definitely when I felt so burned out at work and haven't been sure how to move forward. It's so normal to feel stuck sometimes. Therapists are trained to help you figure out why you're feeling those challenging emotions and teach you ways you can cope with the discomfort. That's what going to therapy has done for me. And I'm not perfect at it by any means, but now I can recognize the flashing warning signs that say, hey, Emily, it's time to take 5 and care for yourself a bit. As the world's largest therapy service, BetterHelp has matched 3 million people with professionally licensed and vetted therapists, available 100% online. Plus, it's affordable. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to match with a therapist. If things aren't clicking, you can easily switch to a new therapist anytime. It could not be simpler. No waiting rooms, no traffic, no endless searching for the right therapist. Learn more and save 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/simplified. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/simplified. If you want to avoid basic and bland gifts this year, Uncommon Goods is your holiday secret weapon. From art and jewelry to kitchen and bar, Uncommon Goods has something for literally everyone on your list that's truly unique and special. I have found some of the best gifts on the Uncommon Goods site, like some truffle hot sauce for a secret Santa gift, a lavender orange shower spray that is a perfect stocking stuffer for all the ladies in my family, and a whiskey making kit that I know Brian's going to love. I love shopping at Uncommon Goods because I know my purchases are supporting artists and small businesses, which matters a lot to me. So find some unique gifts for your people this year with Uncommon Goods. To get 15% off your next gift, go to uncommongoods.com/simplified. That's uncommongoods.com/simplified for 15% off. Don't miss out on this limited time offer. Go to uncommongoods.com/simplified. Uncommon Goods. We're all out of the ordinary. The holidays are here, you guys, and we all have that one person who is impossible to shop for. So make things easy on yourself and get them a delicious treat from Milk Bar. And lucky for us, now you can ship Milk Bar's desserts nationwide. Talk about easy. For a limited time, Milk Bar is offering their delicious new pumpkin Milk Bar pie, apple cider donut cake, and apple cider donut truffles. And if you act fast, you can also get your hands on their seasonal lab drop, the pumpkin coffee cake, made in limited batches straight from their experimental kitchen. Or opt for the classic Milk Bar pie, the cult favorite holiday treat made with a toasted oat crust and a gooey butter filling. We just got one for our Thanksgiving meal and it is so good. It's rich and creamy and that crust is so buttery and delicious. Guys, it's never too early to plan ahead. Place an order today to secure your treats and receive your desserts in time for the holidays. But if you waited till the last minute and need desserts stat, Milk Bar offers fast, even overnight, nationwide delivery. Right now, Milk Bar has a special limited time offer. Get $15 off any order of $80 or more when you go to milkbarstore.com/simplified. You'll get $15 off an order of $80 by going to milkbarstore.com/simplified. That's milkbarstore.com/simplified. Well, who supported you along the way? Like as you were building your business? I know my business Simplified has been around for 15 years and there have been women that absolutely pulled me up as I went. Who was that for you? Did you have like a mentor or someone like that?
I do. So two people come to mind immediately. So my best friend, Kim Biddle, ran an anti-trafficking organization for 10 years in LA. And right about the time I was starting Sanctuary Project, she was transitioning out. And it's been such a gift to have her and, to have her strength around me, to have her reminders around me. And in a lot of ways, I say this to her all the time, but I feel like I get to start where she left off. Like I get to sit on her shoulders and go and go further. She, in a lot of ways, was bringing light to trafficking and what was happening with trafficking in the U.S. long before anyone even realized it was happening here. When everyone was thinking it was an over there problem and really just talking about what was happening overseas, she was starting to shine light on what was going on here in America. And so that's been such a gift to really like stand on her shoulders. Mm-hmm. And then I have my dear, dear mentor, Kirsten Dickerson, who ran a brand called Raven and Lily for many years. And again, she was in the social impact space long before it was cool. She was doing that work starting back in the early 2000s and employing and empowering women overseas with incredible partners in India and in Kenya and bringing the idea of social impact commerce really to the US. And so she's been a mentor to me for years. And I think we need that, without those women who have gone before us and sort of paved the way. And I just have endless gratitude for the hard road they both trudged in different areas. Like, thank you to them, for the way they paved the way to make my job easy to just come in and say trafficking, social enterprise, and people know what that means. But also just to have those cheerleaders in your corner to remind you that you can do it.
Oh, it matters so much.
Yeah, to remind you, it's like, okay, it's just show up one more day and you've got this. And and then to bounce ideas off of. They're both on my board now because I need them around me. I need their wisdom in my life. So that's such a gift. And I love that you talk about that because I think anyone I know who's been very successful in life, they have people that are mentoring them, and then they're also pouring into others. They have people they're mentoring as well, where we're constantly reaching up and reaching down and pouring into women and being poured into. And I think it's really a key to success in so many ways.
I agree. And it kind of brings me to this quote from, I think it's Melinda Gates, who said, when you lift up a woman, you really make an impact. Like you really lift up an entire community. So what would you say, what do you find super powerful about curating a brand that lifts up women? And how have you seen that impact not only your customers, but especially the women who help you run the business at Sanctuary Project?
I think Melinda Gates is right when you empower women that it lifts up the whole community. In
Mm-hmm.
so many ways, women are really like the glue in like the fabric of society. If a woman can't support her family, you're going to end up with adults that have been raised in the foster care system. And then we have cycles of abuse and cycles of poverty. And all of those cycles of abuse and poverty can be broken by just giving a woman a job.
Yeah.
If a woman is empowered to be employed, if she has a way to get to work, if she has childcare to help her work, then you're able to keep these families together. She's able to raise her children. There's nurturing happening. And we actually can prevent all of these societal and systemic issues just by caring for the women in our society. Because when you look at the breakdown of society, it kind of all comes down to the breakdown of like women being cared for.
Yeah.
Women being safe, women having jobs, women being lifted up.
Wow. I was looking around on your website and saw that is it $40 a day?
Yeah.
Talk to us about what that is. Talk to us about that.
Yeah. So the women in our job training program work 8 hours a week. And so their day is a 4-hour day and they're paid $10 an hour, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a good wage for where we are. We're in Middle Tennessee. And so when you make a $40 purchase, 100% of that actually goes to employing that woman for that day.
Wow.
So if you think about it, every single necklace we sell that's a $42 necklace, every single one of those, that's going to employing and empowering that one woman for that one day.
And you think about it being, a paycheck, and it's great to make a paycheck, but it's so much more than that. Like what you just said about impacting their children, their families, their communities, and really generations to come, because with what you're doing, you're helping them break a cycle.
Absolutely.
And changing so many lives.
It really is. I think some of the biggest things we see is like watching a woman transform from having a criminal record, being vulnerable to being re-exploited, to having a resume builder, being with us, and then going on and having a career. Like, I love when women leave us. I know that's a weird thing to say, but it's so exciting because it means that she has stabilized and now she's going on to have this career. And watching our women launch into the world and get these full-time careers with salaries and benefits.
Wow.
And being able to take care of their children, it's the greatest reward I could ever imagine. Because it means like, okay, we actually did it. Like, we actually stabilized this woman, gave her an opportunity, gave her some on-the-job training that she was paid for, and set her up for just a whole other life. It's beautiful. It's beautiful to watch.
That is amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
And it starts with one necklace, which is like, that's so
right?
easy. I mean, like, how many necklaces did you already buy this month, right? Which is so cool.
I think that this is a very good example of how being intentional with where we spend our dollars can really make a giant impact.
Yeah.
Or not,
Or not, exactly.
Or not. So amazing.
And I feel like during COVID, people really shifted their thinking in this way. Like, all of a sudden we were voting with our dollars for which businesses survived and which ones didn't.
Literally.
It was like, I now see that every penny I pour into the economy keeps someone's job or doesn't.
Yeah.
And you started to, at least I did, I started to look at the world differently and, okay, which restaurants do I want to support? Like, I don't want them to go under, so I'm going to order out every single night from this restaurant.
There was a restaurant here that was doing margarita kits, and they make the best margaritas. So we were like,
smart?
How many margarita kits do we need?
It's amazing.
But it's true. It helped them keep their doors open. So your dollars can really, really make an impact.
It's true.
What advice do you have about leading women well? How do you in your role with Sanctuary Project, how do you lead women well?
I'll say something that might sound stereotypical, but I have found it to be true. We are emotional beings. I believe women and men are emotional beings, but I think women are more often in touch with the fact that we're emotional beings. And what I've found is that leading from connecting to the heart of another woman is the best way to see them rising into their full potential. I really firmly believe in connecting and becoming friends almost with an employee first.
I agree. Yeah.
If they don't feel safe with me, if they don't like being around me, if they don't believe that I love them and care for them and want them to succeed in life, I'm never really going to have any impact in their life. I've had bosses over the years that that managed me well or whatever,
Yeah.
but like it was the ones that I actually felt cared about my life that made a
Yeah.
lasting impact.
I agree.
And I don't, it's not something I try to do. I think I do genuinely care about their lives too. I mean, it's easy to when you get to know anyone, I think, and you know their story and you
Yeah.
understand what they've been through, it's easy to care. But a lot of I mean, it's like when I think about if I were to break down my week, it's like probably like 70% of my work week is spent just like spending time with women that I employ.
That's
Um,
amazing,
Even
though.
today, it was like I was out. One of our women has just been through something really horrific. She was in a fire. She lost everything. It was
Oh,
terrible. But I spent today just like out with her at Home Goods, and like
yeah.
and seeing her new apartment that she's going to be moving into, and just processing everything with her. And to me, like I see that as me managing her because I know that like
Wow.
yes, that wasn't work time. I wasn't. It was completely unproductive. We got absolutely nothing done for work today.
Yeah.
But I know that she's a better employee because of it. And I know that we have a better working relationship because of it. And I
Yeah.
know I'm going to see her go further in her career because of the safety she's felt in our environment.
Yeah.
And I'd rather have that. I'd rather have an unproductive work environment
Yeah.
where everyone wants to be there than a work environment where everyone's afraid of the boss and has their heads
Yeah.
down and is just trying to keep their job.
I completely agree. I have 9 employees, including myself. And I totally agree that understanding their hearts and why they show up for work every day and when their kids' first day of kindergarten or whatever, like knowing those
Yeah.
things, it matters so much. But I also want to tell you, I was talking to someone the other day about an organization where this is kind of a story, but I'll get to the point, I promise. An organization where this woman goes alongside pregnant families who are expecting a
Mm,
child that may have a very unfortunate diagnosis or may
okay.
not survive childbirth or just a really tender time. And she goes alongside them. She goes to all their doctor's appointments. She gets them what they need. She says, it could go this way or that way. We're going to make a plan and I'm going to make the phone calls and we're going to do this together. And I was thinking about how powerful that was to have someone walk alongside you
Mm,
during such a tender time in your life is so special. And I feel like that's what you're doing. You're walking alongside these women during a very, very delicate and
yeah.
tender time in their lives. And what a blessing that
It's
is.
such a gift. It's such a
Yes.
gift. I love that.
Yeah.
And yeah, it is such a tender, delicate time. It's so formative. And
Formative.
and in some cases, like our environment, our community, me, our other
Yeah.
staff are the first safe people these women have ever known in their life.
Wow.
Everyone else has wanted something from them. Everyone else has taken advantage of them. Everyone else has
Mhm.
discarded them. Everyone else has written them off. And a lot of times we are the first safe people they've known. And, I think of one of our women who didn't come to us until she was in her 60s. And, like the way she's transformed in the last 3 years is unbelievable. And she is a light in her community now. But she hadn't known safe people her whole life
Oh my
until our community came in. And it's just such a gift to see. But it's like, it didn't even matter because, like, you can go 60 years without it, but the moment you have it, you're home. And the moment you have
God. Oh,
that safety, it's like you're just blossoming from there.
yeah.
And it doesn't even matter. I mean, obviously, she went through a lot in those 60 years, but it didn't stop her from recognizing safety when she had it. And it didn't stop her from recognizing who she could be and become
That's
as
amazing.
soon as she had access to it. And she actually just launched her own jewelry business on Etsy. I'm so proud of her. It's really exciting. She's been our lead jewelry maker for years, and I just couldn't be happier for her.
Well, for anyone listening, in our regular everyday lives, how would you encourage us to lift up other women in whatever our circles of influence might be?
I think it really is that walking alongside, just listening to someone's story, just,
Yeah.
finding those connection points, finding those ways you can walk with them. Everyone's walking through something hard. Sometimes it's actually just that breakup that you're going through, or a diagnosis of a child that you don't want, or
Mhm.
marriage falling apart, whatever it is. I think everyone's going through something, and
Yeah.
we all need someone to walk alongside us. We all need someone to believe in us. I like to say to our women, I have a gift of seeing the women that we employ 5 years from their current self.
Wow.
And it's such a gift because sometimes it can be difficult to walk through someone who's suffering from mental illness or who's going through tragic loss and can't show up in the ways you would want them to. who
Yeah.
can't be the person they want to be right now if they're struggling or lost in some way. It makes it easier to believe the best in them when they do fall or mess up or go back to that toxic guy or whatever it is.
Yeah.
If we can see that 5 years from now version of themselves, it makes it easier to invest in them. And eventually that person does come out. I remember having this vision of one of our women when she came in. She was in a very toxic relationship, had been trafficked for years by a family member, was suffering an addiction. I met her in the jail. When she came out of the jail, she was still in a very toxic relationship. And I remember one day saying to her, like, and I just see this, like, I see this whole other life for you. And she just married a pastor in July. And her entire wedding party was all Sanctuary Project ladies. All her bridesmaids were Sanctuary
Stop.
ladies. And so, yeah, it's just such a gift to see women walk in the fullness of themselves. But we have to believe it exists first.
Yeah. I love that. I love that so much. Holly, I can't thank you enough for sharing your story. And don't you dare send me jewelry. I cannot wait to spend my dollars at your
You're so
at Sanctuary
sweet.
Project. I know where I will be shopping for Christmas this year. I am so glad to know you and to have heard your story and get to share it with everyone.
No, thank you so much for having me. What a gift.
Oh my goodness, you guys. That was amazing. I am so inspired by Holly and her dedication to what she does and her dedication to helping women everywhere. That was just such a good conversation. As we close out this episode, I would like to say a blessing for you as we leave this time together and get back to our days. May you look at the women around you, your daughter, your mother, your friends and aunts and mentors, and say, thank you for the ways you've touched my life. And in their honor, may you find ways to lift up other women you meet, sending a note of encouragement to a younger colleague, leaving a generous tip for the single mom who's serving your table, volunteering to watch your friend's children while she studies for a big test, using your dollars to support a women-owned small business, voting for women who represent your values. And may you remember that empowering women in the small and big ways means that our world becomes a more flourishing place. As always, I like to leave a little tip to help you put what we talked about today into practice. So here's your task for this week. Listen, you don't have to shake up the world by yourself to make it a better place. All it takes are small actions done with intention and love. This holiday season, maybe you could try to find some meaningful gifts from a women-owned small business. Whether it's a boutique in your town or an online business or even a social enterprise like Sanctuary Project, there are thousands of businesses that would love to help you honor your loved ones with something practical or beautiful. If you need some ideas, check out our small business holiday gift guide episode we did a couple weeks back in episode 88. I guarantee you'll impact so many women and their families when you decide to intentionally spend your dollars there. Thank you for listening to the Simplified podcast. I hope today's episode helps you see that lifting up your sisters is something you can do every day with even the smallest intentional actions of love. You can find show notes for this episode at emilylay.com/podcast, and you can shop the Simplified brand of planners and products. And P.S., we'd love to help you find a few holiday gifts for your people. Don't forget to pick up your copy of my new book called Sure as the Sunrise, 100 Morning Meditations on God's Mercy and Delight. Thank you for listening to this show. Thank you for subscribing, and thank you for reviewing. If there's something you're loving about the show, you can drop me a line over on Apple Podcasts. I read all of your words and take them to heart. Till next time, thanks so much for listening. Bye.